Training for the control system for Golden Student Success Center. The system is a web-based system, smart structure that's accessible through any web browser or through Workbench, which is primarily what the school uses. It consists of 4 DOS units, which are pretty much outside air only units that serve chilled beams, and those chilled beams control the different zones in the areas via hot water or chill water, and they modulate each of the valves accordingly to get to set point. There's also an air handler that provides air for VAVs. And they modulate airflow and open and close hot water valves to maintain space temperature. There's a lot of humidity control going on in the buildings, so it's crucial that set points don't get changed a lot. Otherwise, you can condensate in those chill beams and cause big problems. Log on to your enterprise server just like you always do. Navigate down to your different buildings, and all the graphics reside on this GSSC AS1. So you've got a floor plan for the first floor and your different zones, and the background changes based on whether a space is too cold or too hot or normal based on its set points. You can click in that zone and it'll take you to the details for the chill beam or VAV that serve that area. You can see what the set points are. You should be able to override the set point if you want. So if you do a force at this point, you're going to override the local set point, and you're going to essentially lock it out. So no matter what they change the set point on the local sensor, they're going to be locked out. You'll know if it's forced because you can do a force like this, and I can go up to 73 or whatever. You'll get a little hand out here to the side saying it's overridden. And then just to release that, you can go in here and unforce it. And it'll go back to whatever local set point it's got. You get a little bit of information from the unit that it's coming from, static set points, actual static pressure, and then the temperature from the unit, and then the set point from the air handler. If you've got any alarms, room temperature alarms, humidity alarms, if it gets high or low, you'll all see this go into alarm and it'll turn red. And then this is kind of just a description of what it's serving, and that's changeable. So you guys can go in and change rooms to whatever you want. This number here matches what it is on the blueprint. This is just a splash screen, outside air temperature, outside air humidity, the local time. So this is the local time and date on the AS. It's conceivable that time gets off every now and then, so it's not a bad idea to just glance at it now and then and make sure that it's accurate. So there's the first floor graphic. We've got a second floor graphic. Same scenario. You can see temperatures, you can see which spaces are hot or cold based on the temperature and set point. And then you get into your air handler graphics, and your DOS graphics. So this is the air handler that provides air to the VAV. And you've got some room and set points here that kind of act the same way. You can still click on it and go to the VAV that's associated with. You've got occupied set point that you can override, and all of your unoccupied set points are global for this. So if you change it in one spot, it's going to change it for everything. Discharge air for the air handler 1, and then different information for flow for this VAV. Different alarms that might pop up, and then again, you can change the description of the room if you want. But everything on here is just are sensors that belong to that unit. So if you get alarms, you'll get things pop up in red on here. You can see filters are in alarm. based on differential pressure and days. So if you decide you want to change filter criteria, I mean, I can reset the filter based on days. So right now the alarm's set at 30 days and we've been running 162 days. But it's a manual reset. So if somebody just walks up to the unit, changes the filter, and doesn't reset it, we have no way of knowing. But there is a DP set point. So we read differential pressure across the filter, and when that gets too high, you're going to get an alarm. And this one's pretty high right now. Set point's 0.1 and we're at 0.24. So it's telling me this one's probably ready to be changed. In the cafe, this was kind of a change order, but you've got a DX unit that kind of serves that cafe area. And so this is unique in the fact it's not using hot water or chill water. And it's a heat pump. So it'll have the ability to heat or cool based off of DX. Same thing applies to it. You can get in here, you can override the set point. You can turn the unit off with this one, it looks like. We've got some alarms. Chill water system. This is unique in the fact that you've got a chiller that serves water to the district loop for the most part. And it's similar to the rest of your buildings as they pull chill water, hot water from the district loops, but this has got a 56-degree loop that serves the chill beams. So it's real important you don't go too far below 56 degrees because you'll get condensation problems if you do. So you've got a sequence in here that will actually start pulling return chilled water for that 56-degree water loop instead of trying to pull that 42-degree chill water. So that's the first attempt at getting this warmer, is start to pull return chilled water from the building. If that can't do it, you have a heat exchanger that'll begin to modulate hot water through the heat exchanger excuse me, to warm that water up to 56 degrees. DOS1 is one of the units that serves the chill beams. There's bukus of information here. You know, it's all there for informational reasons. You can override the unit on and off here. There's not a whole lot of set points that are accessible from the graphics because humidity is critical. If you don't know what you're doing, you're gonna start condensating and leaking water all over everything. There's not a whole lot of things you can do besides just override the unit off and on. You click here, you can force it off or on. DOS2 is a little different animal because it doesn't have desiccant wheel. It's got an energy wheel, but it doesn't have a desiccant wheel. For whatever reason. But pretty similar other than that. They serve the same purpose. There's still dehumidification sequences. There's just not a desiccant wheel. So 1, 3, and 4 are identical. And then you've got a couple of fan coils, or a few fan coils. 2 of them in the vestibules. There's the west entry one. It's got chilled water, hot water. You've got the set point controls. You've got filter alarms that can be changed as far as set points. You've got room temp alarms, condensate switch alarms, in case your drain plugs up or something. Fan coil 2. You've got your IDF rooms that are cooling only. Then you've got the miscellaneous points here that will just kind of tell you different alarms, different statuses for sump pumps or exhaust fans or domestic water. And then you've got a navigation page down here. So you can access the building schedule there. And right now it's running 7 days a week, 6 to 10 p.m. Shutting off at 10 and coming back on the next morning at 6. And then these are just shortcuts to the different links over here. So it'll take you everywhere we just saw. I'm just gonna skip the hot water one there. This is identical to what you got in the other buildings. You pull off the district loop, you've got bypass valves for the campus loops, and you've got pumps that switch to maintain building differential pressure. And these are automatic. These loops, chill water loop, hot water loop, just starts when the building starts. Okay, we'll keep going. Okay, so as far as alarms go, you've got alarms on your individual graphics pages, but you've also got alarms that are available when you sign into Enterprise Server. And you can drag it up and you can see what's in alarms. And they're different buildings. There's one from this building.
So it's campus-wide.
Yeah, it's campus-wide. So they should be familiar with it. But all the red ones are in alarm. Green ones were in alarm or not in alarm anymore. They're just up here because they are waiting to be acknowledged more than anything. All these are, looks like CO2 alarms that were in alarm at some point are now normal. There's some supply air temps for, you have to kind of pull some of this out sometimes from DOS 4 from this building. We acknowledge them there and they go away. If you acknowledge something that's still in alarm, for example this, it's gonna turn yellow, which means it's been acknowledged, it's still in alarm. When somebody fixes me, I'll go away. The neat thing about these alarms is you've got a number over here, this count. And so you could really see where potentially some of your problems areas lie. If you get a number up here it's gone in and out of alarm 30 times, hey, there may be a serious problem there. I need to go see what's going on. Which could be like a supply fan. Maybe we're telling it to start, it doesn't start, so we go into alarm, and then we tell it turn off. So then it's already off, so there's no problem anymore, so the alarm clears. So you might have a scenario where you're calling for a fan and it's just not coming on. This is a typical control panel for a DOS unit. It's the same 2052 key that you probably have all over the campus. But inside here, there's not a whole lot to do in here, other than maybe if you call me, we can talk about lights flashing and see what's going on. But without Workplace Tech, you really can't do a whole lot inside this panel, which is software. They have Workplace Tech, but you still wouldn't be at the panel to do it. If for some crazy reason you pull too many amps on a 24-volt circuit, you might trip a little breaker up here that might need to be reset. If you short something out by accident on the unit. But other than that, there's nothing really going on here. If you lose a unit on the control side of things, looking at the computer, you might come to this panel and make sure you got power. That's about all you can do. There is a reset button here. So if you get a fan failure, you can either reset it from the computer or you can reset it here, which is probably the easiest way to do it. If you get a fan failure, it's going to lock out and shut it down. So the only way to get it going again is to reset this. And it doesn't hurt to just push it. It's not going to shut anything down. It's just gonna, if there are any alarms in the controller, it's going to reset it. This device here is a high pressure safety device. What it'll do is if you get a fire smoke damper or something that closes downstream of the unit, it's there to protect your duct, keep it from blowing out. So if you get a high pressure scenario inside this duct, this device is going to trip. It's got to shut the unit down. You'll get an alarm on the graphics, so it'll tell you that you've got a high pressure alarm. You have to you have to push this button. There's also a low limit device. So what this device does is there's a little tab on top that'll trip and kind of poke up a little further than it currently is. But if it detects colder than about 38-degree air, where this device is, this is going to trip and it's going to shut down your unit as well. It's just there to prevent coils from freezing. So those are the two, both the low limit and the high static device that are manual reset devices. And those alarms do show up on the graphics. So if the unit's not running, I go to the graphics first, see what's going on, and then go where you need to. But these will require a manual reset if they trip, and that should get the unit going. Okay, all of your units have roughly the same hot water, chill water valve actuator. And they do their own thing most of the time, but you do have the ability to manually override them. So there's a clutch right here. It's this black button on the top of this orange cover. If you push that device in, and there's a little tab on the side, if you push that down, it'll lock this clutch in. And that will allow you to manually put this valve where you want, and it'll stay there as long as that clutch is in.
Let's go through that again, please, Chris.
Okay.
Okay, try that again because I had it in darkness.
Okay. So this is typical of the valve actuators that are on all of your DOS units and air handlers. They have the ability to be manually overridden. There's a clutch, which is this little black button here on top of the actuator in the orange part. You push that in, and then there's a little tab on the side here. You kind of have to push in, and then it'll hold in that clutch. It'll give you the ability to rotate this valve and put it where you want. And it'll stay there until the clutch is released. So I wouldn't do this typically, but it might give you the ability to, if you're panicked and need some cooling or need some heating somewhere, it might give you the ability to do that short term. Again, these air handlers are pretty specific to humidity control and chilled beams. So when you override like this, you're potentially doing some bad stuff. So just be aware that they are, you can manually override them. And then to release the override, you just push down on the clutch, release it, and it'll go back to doing its own thing. These are typical of the sensors that are in the majority of your rooms. It shows you the temperature. If you go up and down, it'll adjust the set point. You're limited to 75 to 72, it looks like. You can override that from the computer. So if you wanted it colder or warmer than that, you could do that from the interface. This is the override button. So if somebody comes in when the building schedule is off, it'll give them the ability to hit this button. You'll get a red light that says you've got a local override on, and it'll override the unit for a preset time, typically 60 minutes, and then it'll turn it off. It won't occupy the whole building, it'll just occupy the unit that's serving this room. This device here is a CO2 sensor, and it just monitors CO2. You'll get an alarm if it gets too high. I mean, you're providing 100% outside air from the units anyway, so you really don't get any additional air. It looks like this is at 78. Well, let's do this. So if you hold this button down for about 5 seconds-ish, the local override will turn off. So if somebody wanted to turn off the local override, they could do that. But I'm going to check the room temperature offset on this because it doesn't feel like 78 in here to me. So I'm going to hold the arrows, both arrows, up and down for about 5 or 10 seconds. You get into this little configuration menu. By default, it's just telling me that it's address 26 out on the bus, which could be handy if you're looking for that information. But I'm going to press the override button, and it's telling me that somebody has calibrated this thermostat up 8.8 degrees for whatever reason. Guarantee it's not 78 in here. So I'm going to take it down. They're typically pretty accurate. I'm going to take it down to 0 because it really does feel about 70 in here to me. And so if you need to calibrate a sensor, this is how you do it. You can go negative here too. I'll just go negative to show you. You get your negative. But I'm gonna zero it out. And then at this point you can just walk away, leave it, or you can press the double arrows again, which will take you back to that first menu, or you can press it again and you're back. We've got a few flow meters in this room. This is on the north wall, just north of the heat pump chiller. So you can see what kind of chilled water you're pulling to the 56-degree loop from the chill water supply at the district loop. And right now it's going to be fairly low, I would imagine. Just have to wait for it to cycle through. We're not showing anything, which is what I would expect to see, because we're pulling the majority of the chilled water for the 56-degree loop from the return side. We'll go to the south wall over here and get the other 2 other flow meters. Well, I'm on the south wall, just to the west of DOS 2 unit. And what they're labeled, most all these have a factory tag on them. This is chilled water utility flow, which is the 56-degree water chilled loop. Same kind of display. We're showing 217 GPM going out to that loop right now. And to the right of that, you have your hot water loop. We're showing 95 GPM on it. So these 2 things go to your chill beams. My name's Chris Love with Control Technologies. My number is 806-584-9001. Our office number is 806-797-0900. If you've got any questions or concerns, please don't hesitate to give us a call.